Welcome in, everybody, to the Casual Sports Podcast. I'm Alek Koberna. Thank you all for tuning in to wrap up another week of sports. More chaos coming as we get on the show. We're expecting some breaking news here from the NFL within the hour as well on whether or not this Browns-Raiders game will take place on Saturday, which is tomorrow. Raiders are set to leave their facilities here in 15 minutes, so they've already been – a few of them have reported that they've been told not to get on the buses just yet. So we're expecting some big news coming here soon. If I keep checking my phone, it is because of I'm checking Twitter to see constant updates right now from the NFL. Tom Pelissero, a few other guys constantly checking Twitter to see if that news comes out at some point in today's show. But we want to thank you all once again for coming on here to wrap out another week with myself, Alek Koberna, Mike Morrison, and Matt Wolfgang over there. Guys, how's it going? Wrapping up another week.
You just screwed up our last names, but
it's all right.
Did I just do those backwards?
You did do backwards, yeah.
Mike Morrison and Matt Wolfgang.
Yep.
You know what? I've said your guys' names. I don't know how many times on this show. Cut me some slack every now and then.
Same letter. You can't close. Same letter. But yeah, what's up?
Well, here, it's correct down there. There you go.
There.
All right, good.
I'm just gonna change them on here. Right. Hold on.
No, don't.
Yeah, don't worry about it. You guys are gonna be flipped around forever. Here you go.
What's up, Mike?
No, I'm still. Yeah, you're Mike Morrison and I'm Matt Wolfgang.
I guess.
There you go. I don't know what that makes me, but I'm here.
That makes you the meathead, maybe.
You're Mike Koberna, and I'm.
Oh dear! All right, we're getting too far off topic here, Matt.
All right,
Matt's using his brain a little bit too much. We got to pause the show. Well, let's get into some actual sports instead of just whatever this was. Tonight, Matt, do you got some high school basketball going on, or is it just me?
No, I don't. Potentially have games next week that I'll possibly talk about, but no, nothing else this week. All my teams are on the road. So Brookfield's on the road and Badger's on the road. So,
well, I was supposed to be in Liberty tonight against Matt, your Brookfield team, and Liberty Leopards versus Brookfield boys basketball. Game has been officially canceled per the school. Liberty not in session today. There's an ongoing threat with the school with some sort of TikTok social media challenge of some sorts. If you want the full story, that's available on WFMJ. Just go there, type in TikTok or Liberty or social media scare. The full story is on there. We won't get into it because details are still a little bit scarce right now. And
oh, wow.
A couple of schools have been shut down. I believe Niles was on the list. Crestview and Fitch were on high alert. Liberty shut down. So schools have been made available. If you don't want to go to games tonight because you're afraid something may happen, well, you're at the perfect site to tune in instead. YSN should have you covered all across the valley for all teams that should be playing tonight. Instead, I will be going just a little bit south of where I'm supposed to be, down to Cheney High School. I got the Cheney Cowboys hosting the Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy Royals. Cheney right now, they're off to a hot start, man. They're 5-2 on the season. They're hosting the CVCA, a team that's actually a little bit closer back to where I'm from, near Akron. A lot of people I know have gone there before. They're 3-2, so Cheney definitely has the hot hand coming in, but they did just take a really brutal loss on Tuesday to St. Vincent St. Mary's. But this team has some phenomenal defense. That's one thing you can say about them. They held Austintown Fitch to 33 points. They held Boardman to 50 points and 29 points in their first two meetings. They held Howland down to 35. Just a few times have teams actually gone on a run against them. They have a very solid defense coming into it. I'm expecting some high-flying action tonight from both squads. I've been told there's a lot of athletes that can throw the hammer down in tonight's game. So it should be a very exciting one. That'll be at 7 p.m. tonight. Cheney Cowboys versus the CVCA Royals. That's what I got going on. But as we always do, Fridays is our big show. So let's get right into it here. National Basketball Association. It's our team. Everyone knows we're picking Cavs across the board here. And Mike, we got talking a lot about the Cavs last night. I want you to get a little bit of a chance here to kick off the show. Talk about our Cavaliers, their hot streak. 4th in the NBA, and they got a great game here tonight against the number 2 team in the Eastern Conference in the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah, I'm repping the Cavs gear too, Matt.
This one's actually tomorrow, by the way.
Alek,
yeah, tomorrow.
Hat. You need this hat.
Yeah,
it matches. All right.
Go full 90s there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to keep sounding like a broken record, but it's. Did you guys picture this team being 18-12 at this point? Because this is the best case scenario with this team.
Well, Mike, Matt and I were talking yesterday, and we were like, man, we were going to be lucky to go 500 through those first 20, and instead we've come out of it on top, and atop of the NBA, and we got a great chance right now. We're actually being called contenders. So,
and here's the thing I love too. Here's the thing I love. It's our schedule has been pretty tough. I mean, I know some of the good teams we played. They've been missing some guys. Like we played Miami twice. They were missing Jimmy Butler. We played some other teams that are missing their key players. But it's like last year, it doesn't matter.
We've guys out too, though. So
yeah, we've been losing section. We played Brooklyn one time when we had Ed Davis starting at center.
Ed Davis is sweet.
Wait.
Sweet.
He's not sweet. He's okay.
Brooklyn too.
He's all right. Yeah. He had some big points the other night.
The thing is though, it's like some of these teams that they're playing with missing a guy like Jimmy Butler. Last year, couple years ago, they still probably would have lost those games. That's what I'm liking right now with this team. And
right.
They're battling. They lose a game against Utah that one time. They lose by 1 point. I'll take that. And you're losing section, your best scorer, but they're making up for it on balanced scoring with everybody. And their best defender, they're losing Isaac Okoro for the next couple games. He tested positive as well. But so we'll see how that reacts tomorrow night with Milwaukee. But how do you not like what they're doing right now? You got to love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see, and I mean, I love what Cavs are doing. This will be a big game tomorrow night, 9 p.m. If NFL stuff gets moved, you might just see this one be the headline tomorrow night. I can't wait for this one. It should be great. Unfortunately, not going to be on national television, which I think is really confusing. Only Bally Sports is covering it. So
I love it.
Bally, Ohio, Bally, Wisconsin are on, and then it's on an NBA League Pass. But I think it's strange. You see two of the best teams in the Eastern Conference going head to head, and no respect from the national broadcasting. I'm not too happy about that one, in my opinion. But I know at least there's college football and bowl season. There's the NFL going on Saturday night.
Real fans get to watch.
Well, two things though. Saturday night, they usually only have one game on prime time, so it probably wasn't going to be this game. But, I love it. I don't want to be on national TV yet. Keep sweeping us under the rug. I don't care. It's just keep doing it. Just keep ignoring it because nobody expected us to get this point. I don't need to be on national TV to realize how good this team is. We know, Matt. We know how good they are. Or at least not, to what they expected from them, how good we think they are. So I love it.
I love it. They're sweet.
Yeah, I mean,
they're so fun to watch right now. They're playing team basketball, and that's what I love the most.
We were talking about this yesterday. They don't have just one guy; they have a complete team.
Yep.
And that's why they're winning games. Okay, this is their first complete team. No, that was not a complete team when we just had LeBron. We've obviously seen that because every time he leaves, we're horrible. This is a complete team. Okay, and we got guys stepping up too. Okay, Evan Mobley's out. Even what's his name stepped up the other night? Dean Wade even stepped up 16 points. And a lot of people are like, oh, why don't they start Kevin Love? Because he's so good off the bench. You don't want to break his rhythm. Just throw in another guy like Dean Wade and have him start. And then just bring Love in off the bench a lot in that game. And that's what they did in this previous game. And I like it.
Yeah, and you finally get Love in a position where he's comfortable, and you haven't been able to get him in the spot like that the last few years. But Matt, like you said, with the teams with LeBron, it's as good as they were in what they did for those 4 years. You can't sit here and say every game they played as a team because most of the time they didn't. There was drama. They didn't play as a team. This team, I don't care how
coaching.
I don't care how good or bad a team is. If you're playing team basketball, that's all I care. That's all I ask about, and that's what they're doing right now. They're not. They have Jared Allen should be an all-star, not just because it's in Cleveland. He should be an all-star. And you can even say Darius Garland should be. Yeah. So we got two guys that should be all-stars.
Should be locked.
And those are the head of the team right now, but you can't – there's not one guy, and I love that.
That's sweet. It's really sweet.
All right, so let's go ahead and make our official predictions here, boys. We got Cavs versus Bucks tomorrow night. Obviously, I'm taking the Cavs. Matt, you're wearing Cavs. We'll go ahead and make it official.
Me?
What do you guys can? I'm going Bucks.
Any of you guys?
I'm going Cavs, but I'm a little worried with missing Okoro though, because he's our best defender, and Milwaukee has some lethal guys on offense. But it's next man up. They've been doing it all year, so we'll see.
All right.
But I'm rolling with the Cavs, obviously.
Matt, you're taking the Bucks.
No, I ain't taking the Bucks. Sure.
I thought you just said that a minute ago. Okay.
I
Never
was being
mind.
sarcastic.
All right. Next up here, National Hockey League, New York versus Las Vegas. Rangers 19-7-3, Golden Knights 18-11. Two teams, they seemingly match up decently well on paper. I like this matchup going on tonight. Obviously, Vegas is starting to find a hot hand. 7-3 in the last 10, 3-game winning streak. They've scored 104 goals on this season, and their defense has been pretty darn good on the other side of it. Rangers, their offense is slipping up a little bit. Only 84 goals for, but that defense, the Metropolitan has some lockdown defenses this season. I mean, their top 5 teams are all allowing less than 76 points per game. There's only a couple teams doing above that in the Metropolitan Division in total. So it's a very good division right now, and the Rangers have obviously been in a defensive battle. They're also 7-3 in that last 10. Goal differential sits at 10 goals there, and for the Golden Knights, it sits just up at 15. So not that much separates these two. Defense a little worse for the Knights, but their offense can counter that on the other side.
Yep, that's why they're first in the Metropolitan. They're a great team. I like this Rangers team.
Rangers are
they're second. Carolina's first.
They're second.
They're not first?
Nope.
Carolina's first.
Well, actually, I guess it's a three-way tie for first.
Yeah,
Three teams have 41.
It says here in the notes that they're
they have more points than Carolina, but record-wise.
Let me see. Let me look.
No, points are all tied up here at 41.
Okay. All right. But there's that says it right there. You just said those Metropolitan teams are all in great defenses, and they're all in that tight race right there. And Mike, the Penguins aren't too far behind them.
It's a solid division, Matt.
Too. Yeah, we're right there. I'm happy to be in that wild card spot there, but we won't go too far off track. We'll talk, Golden Knights 18-11. I don't think every year that the Golden Knights have been in this league, it's going on 5 years now.
They're usually competitive. Right? They never suck.
They've never been a bad team. You can make that excuse. Oh, they're an expansion team. They got all the good players and stuff like that from all the teams. Well, the Kraken is an expansion team. They're not doing too well.
That's different. Okay? They changed the drafting rules.
They changed the rules? I don't know, but
they changed the rules after Vegas came in, stole great players from everybody. Okay. When they made the Kraken right before it, they put in new drafting rules for Seattle that completely changed the game. Yes.
But you know what, Matt, though, for Seattle, they're not –
there's my answer.
For an expansion team, they're not that bad. Vegas just set the standard a couple years ago into the finals the first year. Like, hey, this is what the new standard. But for Seattle, they're not doing that bad. They're not doing great, but it's for expansion team.
Yeah, they're an expansion.
The Coyotes are worse than they're not. They're basically running the same as the Blackhawks, who have been around for, 40 years? Yeah. So, there's right there in the standard some pretty darn good teams because – Coyotes weren't that bad, just a couple years ago?
Yeah, they fell off totally.
They fell off.
Now they're almost getting kicked out of their own stadium, so, yeah.
You see that picture on Instagram, Matt? There was like 1,000 people there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. But, guys, let's go ahead and make some picks here so we can get down to the National Football League. Golden Knights or Rangers. Mike, you were the only one who right on the Avalanche versus Predators pick. You took the Predators, so you get to go first here.
I like Vegas in this game. Most of the time, not all the time, but I feel confident picking them whenever I do. And like you said, the Rangers, they still play good defense, but they haven't been scoring as much as they used to. It could change tonight, but I like Vegas to get a big road win.
I'm going Rangers. I say their defense gets back on track against a solid team, and they keep pressing on in the Metropolitan. I gotta go Rangers.
All right, well, I'm going the same way as Mike here, actually. I like Las Vegas in this one, and everyone knows I like my stats here, and it's that 104 goals for when you compare it to, on the other side, 84 goals for. That's 20 goals more on this season. That's a lot of points, even though, they've played 29 games. That's a lot of points that separate these two teams. To me, that's concerning, so I'm going to take Vegas here, but I think New York probably keeps this one close, keeps it a low-scoring affair. I think maybe 3-2, 4-2 to Vegas.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the over-under at 6. It looks like 60% of people are taking the over, so
right,
it's hit or miss. But on the money line, 63% with Vegas, so a lot of people like Vegas in this game. So we'll get a big road win. So we'll see.
All right, here, let's continue the show along. Thursday night football, recapping from last night. Overtime battle with a scary moment in there as well, with a big player for the Chargers. We'll get into that in a minute. But Chiefs pick up the win 34-28 in overtime. Mahomes goes big here, 410 yards, 3 touchdowns. Herbert kept up with him for the most part in this game. It was a strong last half of the game, though, for the Chiefs. Herbert, 236 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception in this ball game. This was a back-and-forth affair all the way through. And, Matt, you and I were talking about the lack of running game for this Chargers squad. They had somebody pick up the slack. Justin Jackson came in, and he really hadn't got many carries on the season. He got 13 in this game, capitalized on it with 86 rushing yards, and it was actually the Chiefs that couldn't run the football. Their leading guy was Mahomes, who had 3 carries for 32 yards.
And that last drive in overtime, Mahomes just looked dead on. Like, he was like, I'm not losing this game. We need to win. And he just, I saw the look in his eyes. Like, he was like, come on, let's go. Like, unbelievable. Like, he's the leader of that offense, and he led them. I think it took like 4 plays. The game was over. A couple big plays to Kelsey, and I think one to Hill, too. And, you know, like, at the beginning of that drive, Hill was out. Like, they were stretching him, and he looked like he was in pain. Came in, made a huge 20-yard catch. And I'm like, God, this is over. I shut it off. Went to bed because I knew it was over.
Yep. And, you know, Matt, with the Chiefs, the last 2 weeks, like, they're starting to put up a bunch of points. But the scary thing is they're putting up a bunch of points, but they're not. Look, they still can improve on offense.
Yeah,
like, they're still not what the Chiefs are. That's the scary part. You know, it's you don't want to play them right now.
They really needed to win that game last night, though. They were in trouble.
I mean, 7 in a row, like, now. Right now, it's. But that was a big game.
Does that make it 8?
7.
Okay.
It was 6 before last night.
All right.
But
I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, their Chargers hung in there. Like, you know, they're still a young team. There was a big division game for them. They still got to learn how to win these type of games. But in the last few weeks, they've looked not as consistent as people, you know, expect them to be. But, you know, you push this team to an overtime game, the team that's winning 7 in a row, the team that went to the Super Bowl the last 2 years. So, you know, it wasn't enough in overtime, but it was a good game. This is probably one of the best Thursday night games of this year because most of them have been crap. But overtime game between 2 good teams in division, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was. And, you know, as much as this game was a great one to watch, it didn't really matter who won. For the most part, when it meant to getting to the playoff positioning was what was on the line here. Even with the loss last night to the Chiefs, Chargers still have an 80% chance of making the playoffs. So that's good news. And better news for the Chargers. Tight end Donald Parham was diagnosed with just a concussion, and he will be discharged from the hospital today. So good. He appears to be all right. I mean, completely checked out, stayed overnight at the hospital, expected to be released later today. So thoughts with him as he recovers, but seemingly he should be good to go for the rest of the season once he can get back from that concussion, which probably a week or two. So once they're back in the playoff mode, I imagine they'll let him rest out till then unless they absolutely need him. He's in the second year with the NFL. He's played with every game so far for the Chargers this season. But imagine they'll let him take the rest till playoff time, imaginally, unless it's absolutely needed, but don't know how long he'll be out. That's just speculation.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, let's go ahead. Take a look ahead as we're still waiting to figure out whether this game will actually happen on Saturday night. We're going to go ahead and talk about it anyway. Afternoon. Raiders and Browns from Cleveland, Ohio. The line has Las Vegas at -3.5. Over under for the game 38. I almost think that's too high with how many guys this Browns team is missing. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous how many guys the Browns have out for this game. Here, let me see if I haven't pulled that. Yeah, I got the starters that are currently active tomorrow for the Browns. On offense, J.C. Treader, Joel Bitonio, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Nick Chubb. 4 of the 11 guys are active. One of our wide receivers that is a starter, and Donovan People wasn't really a starter at the beginning of the season anyway. No. And 3 offensive linemen out for the Browns. No tight ends. Our quarterback is currently Nick Mullins.
The dude from the
also
Niners.
Tested positive.
I didn't even know they had Nick Mullins.
He was on the practice squad. He just got signed.
I never knew they had him.
Yeah.
It's all right for the
Browns don't have a backup quarterback right now in Cleveland. And there's been no
Hey.
official signings as of right now, I believe.
Calling
They're going to make a receiver a
Kaepernick.
quarterback. Like
Hell,
we saw the
just
Broncos
give
last year.
Wildcat snap to Chubb at this point. We don't have Hunt either. Actually, I think he was potential into the game. Rashard Higgins is potential to play. He might go down as a healthy scratch though, which is questionable somehow. Couple guys might get the chance to play offensively. It's really question marks right now for Cleveland. Stefanski is still a question mark too, the head coach. So that's going to be a problem. On defense, only 4 starters on that side as well in Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, Denzel Ward, and Owasso Koromoa, who wasn't a starter at the beginning of the season. So it's a great list for Cleveland right now. We have 8 starters of our 22 active for the game. And not to mention, we don't even know if our punter will be available. I mean, he wasn't here last week. I think he should be back this week, but who knows with 20 players going down for the Browns here in this week alone. In the NFL total, I think it's hit 100 for the week already. So they're getting a lot of pressure right now from the NFLPA to potentially postpone some of these games and move them back. But I mean, I still have faith my Browns can win the game. It's just going to take Nick Chubb going off. And I mean, isn't that always the story? It's got to be Nick Chubb that wins some games, and defense just has to make the right stops. I think the luckiest part about this, they're taking on a Raiders team that has really fallen apart here in the recent going. And yeah, they found some things working well. And Josh Jacobs is finally catching a little bit of a rhythm. But I mean, I think you're just kind of seeing Las Vegas kind of fall out of the running and get marked down all the way into postseason, maybe just go for a better draft pick. I think that's maybe the one bright side Cleveland has right now is the Raiders aren't trying to make a big playoff push.
Well, here's 2 things I have with this game. It's keep an eye on. I don't know if it's today or tomorrow or what time of each day it is, the deadline, to see if some of these guys can put some negative tests together to play. So we keep an eye on that.
The deadline is kickoff.
Okay, so we'll see. We'll see if they can get anybody, if there is anybody. But
and if anybody, everyone can, literally everyone can come back technically that has tested positive because it was all on Thursday. So that's the 2-day waiting window. If they get multiple negative tests within these next 24 hours, Browns could technically get a ton of people back. And I have a feeling they're going to get a decent bit back if this game doesn't get moved. But I mean, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be like the Broncos last year starting Phillip Lindsay as quarterback.
But my thing is, it's they have
the Browns
right now. They have to be prepared to not have those guys. Like you could actually get them, but go ahead, Matt.
Browns actually just signed Kyle Loletta 3 hours.
Oh, cool!
ago.
They got him back. Cool.
So yeah, so
he was great preseason, best passer rating on the preseason.
He was great in the preseason. Yeah,
I'd be interested to see who starts in Mullins or Loletta. It's still possible Baker can return as well.
Where has Mullins been? Where has he been? Just Browns practice squad this whole time, or I mean, they just signed Loletta off the Jaguars practice squad. That's bad. What were you saying?
Okay, so potential rescheduling here for football, but it's not the Browns. Instead, they're looking at the 4:25 game on Sunday. Seahawks and Rams potentially being moved to Tuesday. It's being discussed in the NFL.
What happened?
No idea. I mean,
I've never heard anything about either of these teams.
Let's
go
ahead and check this out.
What in the wide world of sports is going on?
Seahawks are going to be without Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Freddie Swain, D. Eskridge. I'm just let me find
Lockett's like their leading receiver too.
Right. Rams without Bobby Evans, Tremont Ankrum Jr., Christian Roseboom, Antoine Brooks Jr., Gbania Okoronkwo. Aaron Donald is listed as questionable. Troy Reader is out. Von Miller is out. Justin Hollins is out. Johnny Munt is out. A.J. Jackson is out. Juju Hughes is out. Terrell Burgess is out. Jordan Fuller is out. Sebastian Joseph Day is out. Bryson Hopkins is out. Odell Beckham is out. Brian Allen is out. Jalen Ramsey is out. Darrell Henderson Jr. is out. Dante Deane is out. Rob Havenstein is out. And then they have 3 guys that have been sitting on.
The NFL's in a lockout.
Yeah, it's literally crazy how many guys are out. Let me check how many the Browns have in total as well.
It just has to be that that huge.
Yeah,
wave
the Browns
coming
list is
in.
just as long, and it's pretty much all the starters that you can ask for. Here, I'll go down the Browns list too while we're at it. Jacob Phillips is out. No AJ Green. No Clowney. He's officially out as well too now. Tony Fields II is out. Mac Wilson is out. Grant Delpit is out. Malik Jackson is questionable. Ronnie Harrison is out. Greg Newsome is out. Stephen Carlson is out. Harrison Bryant is questionable. Kareem is out. Schwartz is out. Keenum is out. Odenigbo is out. Malik McDowell is out. Troy Hill is out. John Johnson is out. Baker is out. Drew Forbes is out. Jedrick Wills is out. Wyatt Teller is out. Tack McKinley is out. Austin Hooper is out. And Jarvis Landry is out. Yeah, I mean, it literally, you go down, Chicago Bears have about 15 guys on.
How did they all get it?
Questionable. Well, so what happened, apparently, this is according to Baker Mayfield, on Thursday, they were allowed to gather and practice. No testing took place before that practice. Immediately following the practice, yesterday, they sent in the testing squads after the team was allowed to full practice with no restrictions, and that's when everybody got COVID.
Okay, well, there's your answer.
The NFL allowed the entire team to practice and then tested them after. Tell me how backwards that sounds.
You know what doesn't make sense? And we knew Baker had COVID like Tuesday or Wednesday. And some of these guys had COVID and they're still having them practice. And then they test them after practice, like you just said.
Right.
Like, that makes zero sense.
Yeah.
That's like setting yourself up.
Yeah, I mean, Baker has a whole tweet line right now going about all of this.
He should.
He had 3 different tweets. He went, well, they keep talking about player safety, and then they don't actually implement anything. He also said something that I thought was a little strange. He mentioned that the NFL was only testing like 3 teams per week potentially. No, he had said more specifically, the NFL tested 3 teams, and that's a little odd. That might become something that pops up here out of the NFLPA. Internal affairs investigation, if the NFL is only testing 3 teams per week. I mean, that could be a huge problem that could come out of this.
Team.
What?
We thought they were, Matt, but I guess
I think we all thought they were. If what Baker Mayfield said is meant to be believed in its word, and whether he meant something else by the 3 teams there or 3 teams across the entirety of the NFL were being officially tested by the NFL, that's a different question. I mean, we don't know exactly what he meant because it was a tweet. He's limited characters, and it wasn't necessarily a complete sentence. He just said,
I'm not going to go
testing 3 teams.
I'm not going to go too far off track here. But a year ago, this stuff was serious, okay? This is really – it still is serious. I'm not saying it isn't serious now. But everybody is now letting up on it. Less restrictions now, and now it's coming back and biting everybody in what. And they need to start taking this seriously. It's not over till it's over. Okay, that's the oldest saying in anything. Take this seriously, okay, or you're gonna get people. I mean, people have died over this. I know everybody knows that. Wait till an NFL player dies from COVID. Just wait. Then they're really going to catch fire for it. They'll really catch fire for it.
Minnesota Vikings lost a guy last year.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, Minnesota Vikings. Big star. But NFL defensive end, I believe it was, for the Minnesota Vikings, had COVID, and because of having a heart condition of a bicuspid aorta, he didn't die, but he was very close. He was basically suffering a heart attack because his heart became overinflated from the conditions resulting from COVID.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, he didn't die, but last death in sports came last year. I think 1 collegiate player's died in the last 365 days. At least that is one report that I've heard. But barring all of that, let's go ahead and get into some predictions here for the Cleveland Browns game. Obviously, I'm taking the Brownies. Whether or not they have guys there, I got to roll with my squad and believe that we brought in the next best players who can take the next step up and get involved in this game and win it. So,
you want me to go?
Yeah, go for it.
So we saw earlier when they played Denver this year, they had guys out and they still found a way to win. And I feel like the Browns thrive under this type of stuff. When they have guys out and they're not really expected to win and do much and they're missing key players, I'm still going to pick them in this game for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm not really confident in it, but
I think the Raiders are just really depleted right now, more than the Browns too.
Oh, Matt, you got to roll with your Raiders. You've been hyping them up.
I mean, I like the Raiders. I do. But, man, they're just in a horrible situation right now.
The both teams are.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
look at
that's
how
what
many
I
guys
said,
sit currently on the injured reserve for this Raiders squad. They're missing Nick Bowers, Tyree Gillespie, Kenyon Drake, Nick Kwiatkowski, Nicholas Morrow, Alec Ingold, Richie Incognito, Gerald McCoy, Derek Carrier, and Denzel Good. That's 10 guys they have on the IR, and not the COVID IR. Those are actual injuries. Darren Waller is still out right now. He has an injury.
Man. That's like
Denzel
their
Perriman
only
is still out for the game with an injury. Trayvon Mullen is out with an injury, and Carl Nassib is out with an injury, along with Kamal Seymour is out with an injury. So no COVID problems for the Raiders, but they have their own injuries to deal with.
And their own personal issues.
Right. But we're all going Browns here, really?
Yeah, I'm going with the Browns, man.
Okay. You know,
I'm just saying they have track records to do this type of stuff when they're shorthanded and nobody expects them. And it's not like they're playing. It's not like they're playing a contender right now. They're playing the Raiders.
Right.
So
I think if you were putting them up against the Patriots or the Bills or the Ravens or the Rams or the Cardinals, the Packers, Browns have Packers next week, so they have to find a way to get healthy in the next week because they have a really awful stretch to finish the season. They have the Packers in Lambeau, the Steelers in Pittsburgh, and then they finish out the season hosting the Bengals. So it's a rough road. They can only afford one loss out of these next four, so they better not make it this one. Let's move along, though, to our next game because we got to go through some half an hour into the show. Patriots versus the Cowboys, the only other Saturday game. This one, Saturday night, NFL Network, 8:15. Patriots versus the Colts. In Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. I've been high on the Colts for a while now. I think they're doing great, but Patriots are unstoppable, undefeated on the road. I got them taking another one.
I get the Patriots too. Yeah, they're great. They're great. They're back to form. They had the one hiccup season, and now they're here.
It's a consistency with me with the Colts. If they were playing a little bit better, I probably would pick them at home. Because, like you said, Alek, I think they're a good team, and I think they're capable of being better than what they are. But you got to roll with the Patriots right now. And again, you don't always know what you're going to get out of Carson Wentz. You know what you're going to get on the ground with Taylor, but
Colts are only 3-4 at home this season too. Teams have struggled across the board at home this season, and it's official. Raiders at Browns will now be moved to Monday night at 5 p.m. There you go. This one came in from Adam Schefter officially.
I kind of like how. Like last year, the Steelers had to play a game on Tuesday or something like that.
Yeah, I remember
it's different. I like it.
I think it was.
We had a game like every day that week.
Obviously, you don't like the reasons for it, but it's kind of cool to have games on different days that you're not used to.
Yeah, because usually I had to work during the games and I would miss it. No, you watch it. It's on a Tuesday.
All right, so continue to move along here. Mike, are you taking the Pats or the Colts?
I gotta go Pats.
Okay. And Matt, you're rolling with the Patriots. Next game up, Mike, this one belongs to you. Sunday, we have the Cowboys on the road to take on the Giants at 1 p.m. in New Jersey. What's your feeling here? Is your team 10.5-point favorite against the Giants?
So I saw a question on ESPN this morning. I think it was Get Up. They asked the question, are the Cowboys an upset alert? Again, anybody can win on any given Sunday, but against the Giants, come on.
The Giants. Wouldn't have them on upset alert against the
nothing on offense. Absolutely nothing.
It's the Giants.
I don't even know why they would ask that question on national television. That's pretty embarrassing. But no, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself. It's against the Giants. Come on. I didn't think it happened, but it's the Giants. The Cowboys aren't losing this game.
The fact that you guys are 10.5-point favorites.
What does that tell you?
550 on the money line. Over under for this game, 44.5. Clearly, people are expecting the Dallas Cowboys to run this thing out of the building pretty quickly. And I mean, what do you even have? Daniel Jones, you're expecting him to beat Dak Prescott?
What do you have?
Unlikely. They have nearly 1,000 yards separating them on the season. They have nearly 100 pass completions separating them on the season. Daniel Jones has just 3 less interceptions, so add on 1,000, he's probably sitting right there next to him. And with that extra 1,000 yards, maybe give him another 4 touchdowns, which will still give Dak Prescott plus 10 in that category. Zeke Elliott has the same amount of carries as the leading rusher for the Giants, yet has twice as many yards and 4 times as many touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb has double the amount of Kenny Golladay when it comes to both receptions and yards, and not to mention Golladay does not have a single touchdown. CeeDee Lamb has 6 of those.
But and again, this is a game for me. This is what I'm looking for is the Cowboys.
Who they pick? Do they pick
Who?
another quarterback or a receiver or something? Or do they go defense? The Giants. I
They
don't
need
think it's
Jesus
Daniel
Christ
Jones.
himself to put on a
need everything,
uniform if they
Matt.
want to find a way to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need everything.
They need Michael Jordan.
But hold
Well,
on,
Larry
though.
Bird described them as what? God dressed as Michael Jordan. So there you go. That's what they need. They need Michael Jordan. That's
As
the
a
only way New
Cowboy
York's
fan,
winning the
here's
game.
what I'm looking for in this game. Obviously, I'm pretty sure they should win this game, and I'm expecting them to. But they need to. This is a game where I would lessen the load a little bit on Zeke in this game because we know he's still not 100%. You might not need him as much in this game, so I would lessen the load on him. And I want to see a game like this against a team like the Giants. I want to see Dak get back to what he was early in the year because when they played the Giants early in the year, he dominated them. So let's do it again. And I'm finally happy. I've been talking about it since pretty much since the beginning part of the year. They're pretty much healthy on defense now, so it's time to get it rolling. And they have been rolling, but it's time to continue that going into the playoffs. And this is a game they really don't have to do much against the Giants offense to stop them because they stink. But that's what I'm looking for.
Matt?
It's the Giants. I'm not picking them. I'm picking the Cowboys.
It's Cowboys Giants though. I'm just saying. I'm not
I got the
again.
Cowboys.
What are you saying? You're saying that it's
I expect Cowboys to blow them
even-
out, but it's still Cowboys Giants.
There you go.
Okay, well, let's continue to roll on through the week. We got the Texans and the Jaguars from Jacksonville. Jacksonville, despite not having their initial head coach on the season, they are actually the favorites to win this game by 2.5 points. And you know what? I'm going to give them the 2.5 points. I'm taking the Jaguars because they're taking on the Texans. And the Texans, despite, having the head coach they started the season with, they still suck at football. So that's not changing.
They both suck.
They both suck, but
You got to pick somebody.
Jacksonville, at least they don't have as big of a injured list coming into this game as the Texans do. Texans are without Pharaoh Brown, Terrence Mitchell, Terrence Brooks, and Justin Reed and Rex Burkhead. Two of those guys are questionable, but I mean, their quarterback is Davis Mills. He's 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. They haven't run the ball at all this season, and that wasn't even by design. At least Jacksonville can claim they had a quarterback that didn't want to run. I mean, a head coach that didn't want to run the football, and that's at least what they held him back.
Maybe that
and yet
will change.
Robinson still has 500 more yards than Duke Johnson does with Houston. So I have no hope or thought that Houston can win this game on the road in Jacksonville. It's just not happening.
Yeah, you go Jacksonville too. No, now that Urban isn't there anymore, I think
that's what clears it up, right?
Yeah.
And Alek,
they play free today. That's it, right?
With Gruden at first.
Right.
They
You get that problem out of there. It's just that first game. You're playing free. You feel fresh. You're like, that weight is gone. I can just go be myself. And I think that's when teams play their best. And
Urban.
I think the Jags get this one.
And my thing on this game is, and you saw with Urban after he got fired, the spread in this game went up a point towards the Jacksonville Jaguars. 3.5, now it's 4.5. So we see what Vegas thinks about Urban Meyer. But I even heard Trevor Lawrence yesterday talk about it after practice. Like, he didn't mention Urban's name, but it's like, we're focused on finishing out these last few games with whoever's here. We got to trust whoever's here. And let's build something on these last few games with who is here now for next year and going into the offseason. So, and I think Trevor's pretty focused on that. And, let's see if he plays better now because we've seen the way he played under Urban. It was terrible. So, and that's not who Trevor is. So, again, I both these teams are bad, but you got to pick somebody. I think Jacksonville's a little bit more loose right now. So, you got to go Jacksonville at home.
Yep, and I guess the one thing they have a Super Bowl champion head coach at their realm. He didn't win it as a head coach, but he does have a Super Bowl championship on his resume. So at least they have something going for him. Darrell Bevell is 1-4 all time when coaching, but keep in mind he got brought in as the head coach last season of the Detroit Lions and went 1-4 to finish out the season. So it was not exactly what they wanted.
So
he's the replacement.
Interim coach for a bunch of teams.
Coach.
Yeah.
All the garbage teams.
But I don't know. I got some faith that they can pull this one out. Give them a 2-4 record all time. Matt, I'll hand this one over to you next. Titans coming on the road at 9-4 to take on your Pittsburgh Steelers Sunday at 1 p.m. 6-1 your boys are, but 4-2-1 at home. I like that record a little bit better than their overall.
Listen, Big Ben, I mean, I've said bad things about him. He's obviously not. So, I mean, he's old. He does need to retire, but it's not all on him. Fourth quarter Big Ben, man, is sweet.
He's ranked number 1 in the NFL.
Yeah.
In fourth quarter play.
Fourth quarter play. He still has 3,000 yards on the season and 19 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. That's not too bad, but he's honestly the key. He has to start getting that ball out quicker. Deontay Johnson is going to be a pretty big key too, and Harris on the ground too. Harris is really, he's fitting in all right. Wait till we get some big offensive line guys as well in there.
That's what I've been saying.
And honestly, I'm not going to go too far track, but maybe it's time we pick in the first round instead of picking a quarterback, pick an offensive lineman. Honestly,
yeah, but you can get them late though, Matt.
Yeah, and you can get a quarterback second round. I mean, I don't honestly. Besides Pickett, and Pickett's going to go off early. I don't like too many of these quarterbacks in this draft. It's got to be not. It has to be not one of the best quarterback classes.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the weakest ones, especially with what we got coming up right behind him, potentially after next season as well, with Bryce Young and CJ Stroud coming out, probably alongside at least Spencer Rattler could potentially come out of there, who might have some upside as a quarterback. Maybe. You never know. Get, God, who else is coming out? Potentially sophomore. Yeah, what quarterback from Texas could come. There's obviously a ton of guys that will pop out. You never know who can go off next season too. So
you never know some of the guys that are names coming up. You never know some of the guys that are coming back that can
Adrian Martinez
make themselves better next year. Yeah,
he'll be in his 5th year this next season, so he'll definitely have to at least put his name in the draft. That could be honestly a huge pickup for someone.
Did he transfer to again?
Let me find out here.
But Matt, you know what? And not just because
honestly though, I think Pittsburgh has a pretty good shot here. If Big Ben plays this whole way, I think he knows now he's got to play. It can't just be fourth quarter Ben who leads comeback.
Kansas
State. Well, I like K-State. They're up and coming.
Yeah.
They had a pretty good season.
They have very up and down seasons, yeah.
Yeah. But Big Ben, he's got to have this. He's got to play like he does in the fourth quarter, all quarters, the whole game, and that might be a little bit for him. But this is the only way we're going to beat this Titans team. They don't have Derrick Henry. That's a plus. But, they're still finding ways to win games. And everybody's counting us out at this point. So we got to find we got to accept the schedule we have and come out here and do the best we can to win games, okay? And I think that is by, letting Ben work. Let him work,
Okay, Big Ben, though, still listed questionable for this Sunday's game as well. He was a limited participant in Thursday's practice. I imagine he'll play. It's just a matter of how much they'll use him. So it might become the Rudolph show, the Dobbs show, the Haskins show, or they might just say, Najee, take off. Let's see what you can do.
I like Dobbs and Haskins, okay? They can move in and out of the pocket when they have to.
But Pittsburgh's going to Rudolph.
Yeah, I know. They are.
If Big Ben can't play, it immediately gets handed to Rudolph.
I know.
I have a feeling either Haskins or Dobbs is getting cut in the offseason.
Yeah.
With this team looking for another quarterback, they're not going to have again 4 different guys on that roster. So
yeah, it needs to be Rudolph that they cut, but it's not going to be. Rudolph needs to go. The guy started off
Dobbs. Rudolph at least has experience in their quarterback spot. Dobbs really hasn't even touched the football.
No.
But let's get back to picks here. Matt, I got no doubt you're taking the Steelers in this one against the Titans. I can give you some stats to back it up too. Everyone's talking Big Ben. This is his send-off season. He's been bad, whatever you want to say. It doesn't matter because with just 20 more pass completions on the season, him and Ryan Tannehill separated by about 100 yards of completion yardage. But the real big thing that separates them in these numbers, Big Ben has more completions, more yards, more touchdowns by 5, despite only having about 40 or 100 yards separating the two. The Big Ben has 19. Tannehill has 14. Big Ben only has 7 interceptions. Tannehill's at 13 of those right now, which is about the same mark we're seeing out of Trevor Lawrence, and people are criticizing him for it. So Tannehill's right up there and playing about as bad as he could this season with still being a decent quarterback. Keep in mind, Titans still can't run the football. They don't have a running back. Derrick Henry is still the leading rusher for the team, and I think he's still top 6 in the NFL right now at 937 with 10 touchdowns. Najee Harris has already surmounted him in the amount of carries on the season by nearly 20 at this point, and he still sits on about 60 yards, 70 yards behind Derrick Henry with 4 less touchdowns. So I mean, Derrick Henry is the heart and soul of the Titans. I know they've been fine winning games without him, but I don't have confidence they're going to do this, especially when you look at how they played against New England, which was really the last good defense they played. They got held just 13 points. It was a 36-13 loss. So I don't have confidence this team is going to be able to score enough. And you just saw Pittsburgh. They've actually been finding ways to score some decent chunks of points in the last few games. So, I mean, against the Chargers, it was 37. They got 20 in the win against Baltimore, 28 against Minnesota. And that was very close to being a little bit more. So despite the fact they haven't been winning as many in that last 5, I think the Steelers actually have a shot to win this one. So I'm going to give it to Pittsburgh. Mike?
Matt, I feel like they have a shot, and I usually do try to pick the Steelers. But the only reason I feel like you brought to the record at home, they are better at home, and that's where they've been good this year. And they they get a big win against Baltimore last time they were at home, so they're able to play good in big games at home. My only quick concern with them is they haven't played since last Thursday, which is fine. But have they used that time to actually prepare for this game? Because they didn't come into that Viking game prepared at all, the Minnesota game. So I question what they went through since that game with the drama that came out of that game with certain players that we won't mention. Did they address any of that stuff from the last game? Did they fix any of that stuff? Are they going to come out flat? Like, they need this game if they want to have a chance to get in the playoffs. We've been saying the last few games. Have they changed anything? We'll see. But I'm going to pick them because I feel like they mainly tend to win big games at home.
Yep. All right. Well, we got a rapid fire here through the next few games. They should be fairly easy, though. We'll start this one off. Jets versus Dolphins. I got the Fins to take this one. Tua's having a pretty good season, and I like him, and I hate the Jets. So
Dolphins are bouncing back, and the Jets stink. So
yep. All right. Continuing to move along here. Cardinals versus Lions. It shouldn't get any easier than this. Cardinals all the way.
Yep.
And then our next one up on the slate. Panthers versus Bills. Panthers suck. Bills are at least a playoff team. I got the Bills. Matt's got the Bills. Mike?
Carolina doesn't even know who they want a quarterback, so you can't win a game like that.
Next game up on the slate, Bengals versus Broncos. I love this game. This should be a fantastic one. But AFC North, man, they've been hot. Matt, I know you love Joey B. I know you probably want him to win this game. I don't know, guys. Go ahead and make your pick first.
I kind of feel like picking the Broncos. I think I'm going to.
Me too, but
it's in Denver, too, and they got a 60% chance to win it. 3-point favorite in the spread. I don't know, man. They definitely both had their own issues this season. Broncos 3-2 in their last 5. Bengals 2-3 in their last 5. So it was a close win, close loss last time out for the Bengals. They lost in overtime to San Fran. Broncos beat Detroit. They beat the Chargers, and they beat the Cowboys in 3 out of the last 5. Their losses games to Philly and Kansas City. I'm going to go Broncos.
I am too.
I like Joe Burrow. I do, but man, this Broncos team is. Yeah, I gotta go Broncos. Well, we've all gone completely across the board, pretty much. Actually, we have gone completely across the board all day long. And we have more reschedulings coming in potentially here from the NFL. Seahawks at Rams and Washington football team at Eagles. Both are now expected to be rescheduled for Tuesday.
What's wrong with Washington and Philly now? See, I'm not even hearing about half these teams.
Yeah.
It's coming out of nowhere.
It really is. But let's go ahead and talk about that one. Washington football versus the Eagles. I've been saying it all season long. I like this Eagles team. I was down on them for a few weeks. I was like, I was off the mark with it. But then they've gone on this run. I'm like, yeah, I was right. Thank you. I'm taking Eagles in this one.
Mike?
You go first.
Me? All right. I'm actually going to go football team here. I like what they've been doing. I'll go different.
Heineke hype train. Mike?
I kind of bought in the last few weeks, especially to what you've been saying about Philly. I know you've been hyping them up all year. They started out bad, but I just feel like they have more going on right now than Washington. Washington got hot, and I'm not excluding anything from that, but they were able to keep themselves in it against Dallas. But I like this. I like this Philly team for some reason.
Philly can score. That's Washington's biggest problem. You look at those last 5 games; they haven't gone above 30 once, and then you look on the other side and you go, "Oh well." The 3 times that Philly has won, they've scored more than 30 points. So they can score it. And, I mean, they struggled against the Giants, and that was a weird game, but it's a divisional game. Then their other loss came to the Chargers by 3 points. So, I mean, I think both these teams come in hot, but I like the Eagles in this one.
Yep.
But continuing to move on here, Falcons versus San Francisco 49ers. Guys, thoughts, 405 CBS and a pick here. I'll go first. I'll mount this, I guess. Falcons have been really good on the road this season. They're 5-2 in that department, and just 1-5 at home.
Yeah.
San Fran, pretty much the same story. They're 2-4 at home, and they've picked up 5 of their 7 wins on the road. So with that being said, I think that makes it pretty obvious. I'm going with the Falcons in this one, surprisingly, actually. I initially had the 49ers down. I looked at that stat where one team plays better on the road, one plays bad at home. I think that makes it pretty simple.
I noticed that too, and I know the Niners won last week, big tough win against the Bengals, but man, I really like how this Falcons team has turned around. I mean, they started off looking like the Giants, honestly, and now they flipped things around. So I'm gonna pick the Falcons too.
So yeah, you talked about that last week, the Niners game against the Bengals. I mean, neither team's consistent. It's hard to pick one, but I think San Fran. I'm going to pick them, and I think they know after a big win last week, and they got to start putting some wins together if they want to make the playoffs. And I think it starts with this one. It's definitely a winnable game. You're playing the Falcons at home. You said they stink at home, which they have been pretty bad at home, but it can change. I'm going to go with the Niners.
Fair enough. Next one on the slate, Packers. Or no, pardon me, we'll not go to that one yet. Seahawks versus Rams. I like the Rams in this one. I got a feeling most of you guys will as well. So thoughts?
Yeah.
They're starting to roll a little bit. Heat up a little bit. So they're starting to get some guys.
But keep in mind, this game was just one of those ones that was moved, or potentially moved. It's in the works, as they would say. So
we can possibly talk about it again.
So, I mean, it's possible that they get a bunch of guys back. But if more guys drop out, I mean, we can go ahead and relook at this pick come Monday or Tuesday before the game. If 20 guys more drop out, it's a chance we drop them off and Seahawks have a shot.
Without Lockett, that's like
Rams
their
across
main
the board.
Guy.
Yep.
Yeah, without Lockett, that's their main guy, and without him,
I mean, Rams are out a ton of guys as well. So, but now let's go into Saints versus the Buccaneers. Tom Brady versus a rival of his olden days against Drew Brees, obviously since retired, but used to be a great matchup. I don't think it will be this time. I think this is going to be one side of the Buccaneers. Have hit a roll, and I mean, it's GOAT Brady out there. He's going to take this. The question asked.
No argument.
Okay. Well, let's finish this thing off in the NFL. One more game to go through. Packers and the Ravens and Baltimore. Baltimore 5-1 at home. Packers 4-3 on the road. Green Bay favored 6.5 points in this ball game. I think this should be great. Expect some potential weather. I mean, we're a week till Christmas now. So, once this game comes to fruition, it'll be 6 days down. So you got to expect the winter weather will be coming at some point. And there's a potential big storm moving through the area. Obviously, Youngstown here just got a warm front come through this last few days. Now the temperature dropping back down. But what's following that is another big potential storm heading up north with more tornadoes that just ravaged Kansas the other day. There's potential for another big set of storms to come through, and that can obviously finish off going through Baltimore as well on the East Coast. And you never know, weather can be unpredictable as well. So, thoughts on this one, guys? Aaron Rodgers listed as questionable as well. So is Aaron Jones and Lamar Jackson and Hollywood Brown and Calais Campbell. Okay. A lot of guys out potentially.
Still gonna go Packers here.
Yeah.
I talked about it last game with Aaron Rodgers that the passes he gets off are unbelievable. And this Ravens defense isn't playing that great.
27 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions this season. That's the impressive mark. He has only about 200 more yards than Big Ben did. He has around the same amount of completions as Ben does, and yet his stats are so far ahead that it's amazing. And Lamar Jackson, 16 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. His passing has not been very accurate this season. That's been a big problem with him. When he's gone looking downfield, he likes to throw picks this year. He's got to clean that up, and I think until he does get that officially settled down this season, which could come here, but as much as I think the Ravens stand a chance, I need the Packers to win for the Browns' sake, so I'm taking the Packers as well. Packers across the board we go. And boys, I guess that leaves us down just 2 final segments to finish off the week here today with about 5 minutes to go. So let's go ahead and get into it here on the finale to week 14 of the Casual Sports Podcast, highlighted by myself, Alek Koberna, Mike Wolfgang, and Matt Morrison. Got it right this time. And so let's start this thing off. Highlights of the week, boys. I'll go first on this one. Mine came with the longest game-winning buzzer beater in NBA history, Devontae Graham. hitting this one 61 feet out. After you saw his opponent come on and tie the ball game, he then launches this one back up the other way to win this one outright. It was a fantastic moment, and I mean, obviously set the NBA record. I had a feeling somebody else was taking this one, so I had to throw it out there first. So,
I got mine. I changed mine now.
What's yours?
I was going to go with that, but I have a backup.
Who do you got?
Isaac Okoro dunking on 3 different.
Oh man, he took mine. Oh man.
I took
and you know what the good thing was?
Matt.
You know what the good thing was? After the postgame, they asked him about the dunk. He was like, I didn't even know the ball went in until everybody started going crazy. So he didn't even know he dunked on 3 guys.
We caught a game in Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. That was a pretty darn good highlight. That's my highlight of the week.
Yeah, that was just this last Saturday. Yeah.
Yep.
Almost forgot it was that soon ago. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm going to put one else out there just because it's not too often something like this happens. So I thought it was pretty cool coming out of last week. Lewis Hamilton, the race car driver in F1, driving Formula One for Mercedes. He was officially knighted by the Kingdom of England, so he is now Sir Lewis Hamilton, and I just think that's really cool to see one of the greatest race car drivers we have alive today get knighted. I mean, not too often you get that going on, so I thought it was pretty cool. Highlight of this past sports week, so got to put that one out there. Sir Lewis Hamilton. I always wanted to become Sir, a knight, Lord, something.
Lord Farquaad?
No, Matt.
The dude from
No, I'm going to be the next Sir Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan Kenobi. There you go. Share the same first name, spelled a little differently. All right.
You're horrible.
Well, this week's up by 4 right now, by the way.
What was it?
This week's Meathead of the Week.
This week's Meathead of the Week. I'm going to NHL here and it's not a new player or coach. It's the national anthem singer singing the Canadian national anthem. She screws it up.
It was awful.
I didn't even see this.
It's so funny. You haven't seen it? I'll send it. It's in the group chat.
What game was it?
It was between. If you go into Google and
I'll search
it was a Canadians in St. Louis game. It was a Canadian versus St. Louis. But if you go to search Canadian national anthem wrong, like it'll come up. Like just search anthem screw up.
I got it.
Yeah, it was so funny. If you watch the whole video, there are only really 2 people really recognized, like, hey, this is wrong. The one coach's face was just like what the heck? The fans were cheering for it and everything. They didn't even know. They didn't even know it was wrong. But how can you screw up that? I mean, I know it's a Canadian national anthem, but I mean, she's had to sing it a bunch of times. She's had to. If she's singing at hockey games, I mean, every team has to do it. When a Canadian team comes in, they have to sing it.
Yeah.
How would you screw that up?
I can't tell you how that one goes along through there, but that's
like
definitely
I don't
something.
know. Like I don't know every word, but I'm not supposed to know every word. She is. Oh man! Look, I'm looking at the face now. This dude's face. This was assistant coach Alex Burrows. Just looking over at her like, it's funny. But that was a meathead.
I was trying to get the picture up. I can't get it to pull up, though, so sorry about that. I was trying to pull it up on the screen. It was not working, but that is going to officially do it for Week 14 of the Casual Sports Podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. Once again, I'm Alek, Koberna, Matt Morrison, and Mike Wolfgang. Power Hour coming up next. You can check me out tonight in Cheney High School for the Cowboys hosting the Royals of CVCA. That does it. Week 14. We'll see you all next time.